Was Mufasa another Disney flop, or did they finally get it right with this live action? Did the story of this film end up completely distorting the original story we all know? I'll tell you all this and much more right after the intro. Let's go! Welcome to Cine Lovers and the second live action of The Lion King. And in this first part, there are no spoilers. In this movie, we follow Mufasa. But how come? Doesn't Mufasa die in the first film? Yes, but the story shows Mufasa as a child and teenager. We get to see how he became the Lion King, his journey over the years before taking the throne. I'll be real with you, my expectations were low. I wasn't expecting much, but the movie surprised me positively, and a lot, to be honest. The entire movie is essentially one big flashback. Rafiki is telling Mufasa's story to Timon, Pumbaa, and Kiara, Simba's daughter. At certain moments, the film jumps back to the present time with them. I thought this back and forth might get boring and tiresome, but it didn't. It happened at the right moments, and everything flowed well. The story was very interesting and turned out differently from what a lot of people were expecting, different even from what the trailer shows us. But in the spoiler section at the end of this video, I'll share more details about the film's CGI. This is a somewhat controversial topic. It's a live action. Okay, the CGI is very beautiful and well done, but it didn't need to look like Animal Planet. If I wanted to watch Animal Planet, I'd turn on Animal Planet. Here, I want to see a Disney live action about the characters I love, from a movie I love. Many fans enjoy the overly realistic approach to the characters, while others wish they were more cartoony, like the example created when the first film came out, similar to the animals in Pinocchio, or how Toothless will look in the live action How to Train Your Dragon. Think about it. If Toothless were a hyper-realistic dragon, it wouldn't be as cool, at least for me. It's also worth mentioning that Disney listened to us, at least a little, and gave the lion slightly more expression. You could tell if the lion was smiling, happy, or sad, because in the first live action, they had no expressions at all. They didn't change it to how I and a bunch of fans would have liked, but at least they improved it a bit in this regard. In any case, this doesn't interfere with the film's narrative, which was full of plot twists. Even though we already know some of the things that happen, others will definitely catch you by surprise. Many references to the first movie were made, whether in the dialogues or in the scenes themselves, so obviously, to watch Mufasa, you need to have seen The Lion King, at least the animated version, right? That way, you get a more complete experience. The animated film is 30 years old. I think everyone has seen it by now. Please tell me you have. If you're a fan of The Lion King and plan to watch this movie, leave hashtag Mufasa in the comments, and I'll give it a heart. To be honest, this is the kind of movie you think didn't need to be made, until it was. Because it managed to enrich the franchise's story, add to the narrative, and expand the Lion King universe, even while telling an important story we'd never heard before about Mufasa's adoption and how he became king. It turned out really good. Honestly, my expectations were exceeded. It was much better than I thought it would be. Before getting into spoilers, I need to tell you that the movie hits theaters on December 20th, the exact same day as Sonic 3. I don't know if that was a good choice. Actually, both studios are really confident in going head-to-head, especially so close to Christmas. And now it's time for spoilers, but relax, if you don't want to hear them, you can check out my spoiler-free review of Sonic 3 by clicking here. Otherwise, come with me to the end of this video. In Mufasa, the Lion King, we see our beloved Mufasa with his parents. They weren't kings, they were just lions living in the region. But one day, a flood takes over the area and carries Mufasa far away. He gets separated from his parents, and in another place far from there, a lion named Taka, who is Scar, saves Mufasa, who is about to drown, and asks his parents, the kings of that region, to adopt him. This part of the story is very impactful and marks where Mufasa's destiny changes. But I found the flood that carries Mufasa away a bit forced. It was just drizzling, not even raining, with a few drops stops falling, and suddenly everything flooded. It felt strange. During a good part of the movie, it's made clear that Scar and Mufasa care a lot about each other. Scar, in particular, adores Mufasa. But as time goes on, Mufasa begins to stand out more, and this causes feelings of anger to grow in Taka, making him question if he still likes his brother. On top of that, Taka's father always said that Mufasa would betray him one day because he was an outsider. Mufasa proves to be braver. He saves Scar's mother from an attack by another lion while Scar just stands there, paralyzed and unsure of what to do. Mufasa also shows himself to be more skilled in various tasks and ends up winning the love of Sarabi, whom Scar was interested in. This is when things start to change, and the conflicts begin. They get involved with another lion who wants to dominate the others, and during one of these fights, Mufasa ends up killing this lion's son. From that moment on, they seek revenge. As Scar grows more frustrated and feels like a loser, he briefly turns against Mufasa. However, he later regrets it and, to defend Mufasa, steps into the fight between Mufasa and the other lion, taking a scratch that gives him his famous scar. As I mentioned, Sarabi, who later becomes Mufasa's wife, is also in the movie, along with Zazu and Rafiki. It was great to see this iconic group meeting and coming together, forming the family we see in the first movie. The film is a musical but features only a few songs, and these songs don't even come close to those from the first movie. They're far off, just like Simba, who makes a small appearance. So if you were hoping to see Simba reigning, it doesn't happen here because the focus is on Mufasa. After fighting hard to defend what he believed was right, Mufasa finally takes the throne and becomes the Great Lion King. However, many people, including myself, thought Mufasa would become king because Scar's father would pass the throne to him. In reality, Mufasa becomes king because Rafiki, along with hundreds of animals, asks him to take on the role, even though Mufasa doesn't want that responsibility. If Scar's father had passed the throne to Mufasa, it would have made Scar's anger feel more justified, giving the impression that Scar was truly wronged. But that's not what happened. In truth, Mufasa didn't do anything wrong, and Scar always had that dark side within him. It wasn't the circumstances that defined Scar's character. Throughout the movie, several things happen that make Scar angrier at Mufasa, but none of these events were Mufasa's fault. Even after all this, Scar sarcastically apologizes to Mufasa, who says he can no longer call him by the name Taka. Taka then says he can call him Scar, referring to the scar he had just gotten. The movie doesn't have a post-credit scene, but depending on how successful it is, a third film might be on the way. After all, there's still a lot of story to tell from The Lion King, which is one of Disney's most beloved and profitable franchises. By the way, thank you so much Disney for inviting me to watch Mufasa a few days before the official premiere. Much appreciated. After Mufasa, Disney will release many more live-action films and movies like Zootopia 2, and I already know who the villain of that movie is. I tell you all about it in this video right here. Plus, since Sonic 3 is just around the corner, I made this spoiler-free video sharing my thoughts on the third movie about the world's most famous hedgehog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video here on Cine Lovers.